Alex, actually, down there, look at the bottom. Make sure both of those plugs are plugged in. So I'm only getting it on one side of the headphones. All right, let's do it one time. Ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuned in to the smooth stylings of the Shattered Illusionz Podcast.
Will I take him to the breaking?
I am your host, TK McKenna, and I'm so excited for this show. We don't have a lot of relationship talk tonight. Y'all been asking for more value in terms of money, stock market analysis, things like that. We don't give that to y'all tonight, man. So before we get started, like the video, follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Rumble. Not gonna hold the show up too much. Checking on my family. First of all, Alex, how you feeling?
I'm sleepy, but I'm here.
Seems like a common theme around here. We all tired, man. But you know what? The work got to get done.
Mm-hmm. I thought you were going to say something else.
Speaking of work, introducing my co-host, Cmarty. How you feeling, bro?
I'm amazing, man. Happy to be here back on another episode of Shattered Illusionz. And before we get started, go ahead and give me a follow. Cmarty on Instagram, TikTok, X, YouTube, fitness advice, fitness trends, fitness bars, everything fitness related. Go ahead and give me a follow. Check me out.
And shout out our boy Tune, Mr. Sweat for the check, man. They had a fire episode last night. I was producing, but I was back here about to fall asleep. Not because they was born, but because I was tired. You know, when you go to the gym, 2 times in less than 12 hours, happens like that. Then you got to work all day and all the other BS for life. But you know what? As we just said, the work still gets done.
That's right.
So I'm extremely excited for this episode tonight. We actually have a returning guest, someone that was on probably about a year and a half ago when we had our boy Oliver on here. Shout out Oliver, man. But he's coming back better than ever, more improved, dropping some game for you guys. I'm gonna introduce my boy, and then we're gonna get started on this episode. Without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, my man Vince.
Will I take him to the breaking?
What's your last name, man? I can't even think of your
Fray Martino.
You said what?
Fray Martino.
Is there a dash in there?
Nope.
Oh man,
Are you Italian or something?
Very. Yeah.
there it is. That's what it
See,
is.
look, I didn't even know that.
That's what it is.
A full name: Vincent Ilario Fray Martino.
It's like you should have like a
Oh, yeah.
pasta factory or something, man. That's
I know, right?
crazy.
Pizza shot.
Nah, but all jokes aside, man, Vince is my guy, man. We've known each other for Vince one of them dudes you know for so long, you don't even know how you know him. When you go to the gym, you kind of facilitate family members like that, man. But always a good dude, humble, down to earth. He's gonna come and talk about some of this BS we got going on with misinformation in financial markets.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we're going to get into a little bit of election talk and things like that, which is going to be really good for y'all because, as I said before the show, Vince has the beliefs of a black guy. And we
was supposed to be a black guy.
Exactly.
Let's make that clear.
Exactly.
Let's make that part clear.
And we, as in me and Cmarty, actually have opinions of a white guy or what's supposed to be a white guy.
We hate black women.
I could attest to that.
Well,
And actually,
You better stop it, Alex.
we can do kind of like a 2-on-2 thing. It could be me and Cmarty versus Alex and Vince because Alex is the same exact way. Although I think I'm getting Alex though. Alex is starting to listen. Alex is starting to listen
Alex
a little
getting
bit
coaching
more.
from us, so she might not.
A little bit, bro. She's
Yeah.
starting to ask a couple questions, and I'm liking. I think I can
Listen,
convert it.
I converted my mom.
Did you really?
Yeah. So serious.
You know what? I think we're gonna get Alex too. The only thing about Alex is this is the messed up part because her family loves me, and
Oh, man.
I don't think if they saw this side of me, that love would be as strong. And then,
I believe it.
and then they're gonna be like, "Where you get these beliefs from?" And the only person that's been newer in her life is gonna influence her is gonna be me. So it's gonna be like, this nigga's a bad influence.
You know what's crazy about the internet? Like you can put something out and it goes viral to people that watch content and consume content, but those on the outside world, they'll never know.
Bro,
They'll never know.
I literally just said that, and we're gonna do an episode about this too. You'd be surprised how much stuff people don't know because we watch all the red pill stuff, the financial stuff. People are dispelling common democratic views. You think that's commonplace in the world, and it's not. Most people have no idea that side of the internet even exists.
You're right.
So we can talk about that a little bit. But Vince, before we kind of get started, do you want to tell the people what it is that you've been doing to kind of be qualified to even talk on this? And before we start, also, guys, realize this is not financial advice. These are three guys that's having a conversation. This is for educational purposes only. But Vince is going to tell you why he's qualified to even talk on this.
One thing before Vince goes.
Go ahead, bro.
We don't give any advice. We share our experiences and our thoughts, and you make a decision.
It's up to you, man. We just shatter the illusion, and then what's the line in the Matrix? It's like, if you want to go ahead and take the red pill, find out how messed up things are, come here and follow us. But if you want to take the blue pill, you'll wake up tomorrow in your same bed tomorrow.
Go over
never
there.
happen. Exactly. We don't even want you over here.
Yeah.
Cap.
No, we do want you. Please follow us. Go ahead, bro.
So, a couple years ago, I picked up security analysis from made by Benjamin Graham, and he was Warren Buffett's professor.
I was going to say, you got to make sure you tell people who that actually is, because again, people have no idea who this person is. And make sure you're talking to the mic too, bro.
Oh, okay, my bad.
No, you good.
The back a little bit if you need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Security Analysis and Intelligent Investor, two books that Warren Buffett considers like, the Bible for stock market investments.
I actually have that book. I never finished it.
Yeah, it's a big book. It's like 750 pages. Yeah.
Fuck this shit.
Is it one of those books you read and your eyes start kind of glazing over a little bit because there's so
Yeah.
much information in there?
There's so much info. Yeah, I need to start that over.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So it kind of took me down this rabbit hole, and eventually I started going to the Library of Congress here in DC. So I started reading up on our economic history, on different, financial crisis in our economic history,
Sure.
basically. Also been reading a lot of books for that go over the Federal Reserve's
Oh yeah, that's
history
something we
as
gotta
well.
talk about, definitely. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm currently studying for my CFA. It's a charter holder for finance analysts. It's
Yeah.
considered like the gold standard in Wall Street for equity valuations. So valuing stocks, even things like hedge funds, real estate, derivatives, all that kind of stuff.
Do you kind of want to go into more of the CFA, like why it's considered the gold standard? Because I've never even heard of that. And the acronym stands for what again? What's the acronym?
Charter for finance.
Okay.
Charter of finance analysts. Yes.
Cool.
So it's considered the gold standard because there's no other charter. It's not a certificate. It's a charter for analyzing stocks, bonds, all these different kinds of financial assets.
Right. Okay.
Basically, nothing goes deeper, not even the CPA, into valuing equities.
So to do more of a warm-up question, bro, I kind of want to get your thoughts on the current state of the American economy.
Mhm.
Do you think that we're in a recession right now? Are we moving towards one? Are we going towards depression? Like, what are your thoughts? Because I kind of paint the picture for me right now. And this is what I always say. I think that we are either in a recession or we're moving towards one rapidly. And the reason I say that, we talked about it last time on the show, the American dollar has lost almost all of its purchasing power. Back in the day, you could have a family of 3 or 4, make $40,000 a year, and you could pretty much live on that comfortably.
Mhm.
And now we're to a point now where you got to have the mom working, the dad working, shit,
Mhm.
sometimes even the kids working, and that's still not even enough.
Both parents working 2 jobs and just barely making it.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, it shouldn't be that way, but I'm a person that always say that I don't concentrate on what should be.
Mhm.
I concentrate on how things actually are, right? So the victim mentality, yeah, it is fucked up that we have it the way it is, but I'm to the point now, like, what's the solution to all that? So I say all of that to say, to pop it back to you, bro. What's your opinion on the state of the American economy right now?
Well, right now, I mean, if you want to neglect yesterday and I think Thursday, the market was down too. We're in a bull market. We're in a solid bull market before Trump was even elected. All right. Things have been going up, but let's be clear here. The stock market is not a totally accurate reflection of the economy. Like you said, people are struggling right now.
Yeah.
So like it's very clear, and I hope people are waking up to the fact that just because the stock market's doing well doesn't mean that the whole economy is doing well. So, I mean, yeah, Nvidia can go up to fucking $3,000 a share.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's still many people who, like I said, are working 2 jobs and are barely making ends meet. But I would like to disagree with your assumption.
Let's do it.
That it's due to the value of the dollar.
Okay.
I think it's due to how our economy is set up. So there are 2 different types of economies that we have been in, that we have gone through in our history. There's demand side economics, otherwise known as Keynesian economics, and there's also supply side economics, which is more of the Reaganistic, lower taxes, deregulate, subsidize government subsidies to companies directly. That's what a supply side economy looks like. That's what we're currently living through right now. All right. Trump's going to lower taxes. Taxes have been insanely low. For decades now, pretty much ever since Reagan became president. And I think we're reaping what we sow because of that right now.
So when you say taxes have been low, like kind of expand on that a little bit more,
Sure.
because I think that the tax game is a rigged game, but it's rigged to the people that know how to play it, right?
Yeah, because they have the resources to do so.
That's my point.
Yes.
So like even me as a middle class worker, I get killed in taxes, and it's because you don't have that knowledge that somebody like a multi-billionaire, millionaire would know how to like hide your assets and then try to like maneuver around the tax law and everything like that. So when you're saying that taxes are low, like low relative to who is kind of my question.
Not relative to who, relative to when.
Okay.
So back in the 1950s and 60s, going back to that from our
good
last
old days.
podcast.
The good old days.
Guess how much the tax rate was? The federal tax rate was for people making over 400K. Go ahead and guess.
Higher or lower?
Huh?
Was it higher or lower?
Oh, it's definitely higher than what we have now. I think right now, I don't know what the nominal figure is for the tax rate off the top of my head for now, but it's definitely higher than the $400,000 tax bracket back in the 1950s and 60s. I want you to take a guess though.
15%? Yeah. Way up?
60?
26%.
You.
Higher than 60?
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
In the 50s?
78%. 78%.
Higher.
Fuck.
85?
A little bit higher.
88.
A little bit higher.
90?
90.
Ain't no way in the hell.
Go
man.
look it up.
Way.
Look it up right
no
now.
way, bro.
There's no way,
in the
dog.
50s,
Look up the tax rate in the
look
it
it
was
up.
either 1950s or 1960s. I'm not
There
kidding
ain't
you.
no way.
Look it up
bro.
right now.
and what's
Now,
that?
I will say, the tax rate was 90%, but what they were actually paying was 45%.
Okay.
Okay. Where that money went into was middle class workers. That's why you're going to have a single breadwinner, all right, and support a family of 4 and have a house and live comfortably just on one salary in a household. Because instead of
91%.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
so when companies were taxed that high, when business owners were taxed that high,
That's crazy.
they didn't want to be taxed at that tax rate. So they would avoid taxes, not evade taxes, avoid taxes and put it into things like research and development. That's why we had so many, innovations back then. People creating refrigerators, ovens, all these appliances that we have now were brand new back then because these companies put it into their R&D departments.
Yeah.
They also put it into their workers. So if we were currently living in the demand side economics, which was in the 1950s and 60s and part of the 70s, but I wouldn't be surprised that the average salary for workers, middle class workers, would be like $80K average. not median, average.
You talking about back then or now?
Yeah, if the
now.
rate of inflation and if we kept the same demand side economic principles today,
Yeah.
I think the average wage would be 80K. It would be around like 89.
Because what's the average like wage right now? Is it like 35,000 something like that in
I
America?
think it's like 40,
Okay.
maybe 50. Maybe
Okay,
50.
because I know that
It's
like
definitely not 50.
I'm about to say I know it's not
could be
50.
wrong on
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Because I think like the median household income is like 72.
Yeah,
I
but that's
think.
median.
Yeah, median though.
Yes.
Like median is not average. People don't know that. Right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the middle
yeah.
number, right? So, but that's interesting, man. So, just to kind of answer the question. So you're thinking you had something, Cmarty?
Nah, cool.
I was saying, do you think? So you're thinking that we're in a recession or we're not in a recession?
I don't think we're in a recession, and I don't think we're going to be in one for a little less than a year, probably like I don't know, 9-10 months.
But see,
something like
that's
that.
that's what
I don't want to guesstimate an exact number, but we're
Yeah,
not gonna
yeah,
go
sure.
into one for a while.
But that's what frustrated me about the whole economy doing like I hate to say I'm just going to start it.
Uh-oh.
But during the whole Biden like Harris like administration, this is what kind of pissed me off is because people kept saying that, oh, our economy's doing record numbers, our economy's better than ever. I'm just like, according to who? Because like you said, the stock market has been pretty high and stuff, but the stock market doesn't tell the whole story. I would probably argue most Americans don't even invest in the stock market outside of a 401k or something like that.
Sure.
So just because the stock market is doing good, that just means the rich is getting richer,
Yes.
not the average person.
Yes.
So
And our current supply side economics is aiming to help the supply side. All right. If you are a business owner, CEO, whale investor, whatever, you are making above average returns on your work, on your labor. Whereas if you make a salary, you're losing money.
Yeah.
You're losing money.
So explain that supply side. What does that mean again, just for the average like listener?
Sure.
Yeah.
So supply side means that the government is going to cut taxes, deregulate, and help businesses, aka help our supply side, do their thing essentially, and create more progress and innovation that way through the private sector, essentially. Whereas the demand side, it focuses more on, tax penalties, tax benefits, more government involvement, which is what people do not want, obviously.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying I want that either, but I do know that we're all going through these avenues that think that they're going to help solve our problem in the future. But I think that they're just going to make it worse, like lowering taxes, deregulating more, and subsidizing more of these companies. Subsidizing more money to these companies that truly don't need it.
So while we're here, I guess we're already right here. So while we're here, what do you think about the whole idea of adding tariffs and then lowering taxes?
Adding tariffs?
Yeah.
Well, tariffs from what I've seen, it's going to increase inflation.
I've heard that several times.
Yeah. I got to be honest. I'm not too informed on tariffs, so I don't want to speak too much about that.
Sure.
I'm just telling you what I have read about, and multiple sources that I've read or seen videos on, whatever, say that it's very inflationary. Yeah.
I got a question for you. I don't know if this is your lane or what you studied or what you're currently studying, but how you feel about the debt crisis? How do you feel about Americans? I don't know the percentage off the top of my head, but a lot of them have to use debt to survive. Yeah. And we're in trillions of dollars of debt.
I think 34 trillion was the last number we had.
34 trillion. Shit. That's crazy. Yeah.
Just in credit card debt?
No, and like the actual American debt.
Just all kinds of debt.
Yeah, like actual America was in $34 trillion of debt the last I checked.
Wow. That's not including like personal debt too.
I'm talking about like
talk about the United States.
Well, the number of like personal debt and what people owe, that's in the trillions as well.
Wait, are we talking about credit card debt or like the debt of America? Which one are we talking about?
These are very.
I'm talking about personal debt, like people have to use credit to survive.
Oh,
that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, fair enough. I thought it was something else.
Yeah, so if you mentioned the tariffs, if inflation continues to, if that continues to happen, don't you think the debt crisis is going to continue or get worse?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, pretty much. Honestly,
bro,
but
we're in scary times right now.
yes, and when I advocate for these demand side economics, it's to help. It's because these are the only ways to help middle class working people. All right. Lowering your taxes and getting an extra like 100, 200, maybe 300, depending on like $100 in your paycheck. Is that really going to make a difference in your lives? I mean, to some people, that like it's going to take it's going to allow some money.
You kind of with me on that. Go ahead. Bro.
It's not going to help everybody. It's going to fuck some people up.
Yeah.
But people like us, we'll probably be smart with it. And do something with it.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I just don't see that. I don't see having a couple extra $100 in your paycheck as a sign of real change. I just don't. I just see that as he bought y'all.
He bought.
I mean,
so look, this is what I say, because me and my cousin were talking about this earlier.
Adds up too.
And no, it definitely does. But see, this is what I think with America also. We don't necessarily have a money problem. We have that, don't get me wrong. But we have more of a not knowing what money is and how money functions problem more than anything. Because you hear this conversation a lot, and I'm just gonna go and fuck it.
Yeah.
But you hear like a lot of people talk about, give black people reparations and things like that. So my whole thing is, first of all, people have no idea. They're just saying give reparations. First of all, how would we even consider what a black person was, or like, how can we tell who actually had ancestry ancestor slaves, right? Then it'll be the point of, okay, well, you're black, you're not considered black. People that aren't black will try to classify themselves as black. That would be an issue. And then my point is, you give them that money, let's say $25,000, $30,000 a person, right? You give the average black person $25,000, $30,000, what they gonna do with it?
They're going
designer.
They're going to
Cancun.
It's gonna be designers. It's going to be a bunch of Gucci wearing, like you said, Alex. Niggas going to be in Cabo. Niggas going to be like smoking hookah all the time. So again, giving that person that money is not going to change anything if you don't change that person's habits, right? So I think, popping back to the American thing, if you don't teach people what money is, how it flows, how to multiply your wealth, giving people free money is not going to do anything. So to your point, Vince, the extra $100, $200 probably wouldn't do anything for the average person. But like you said, to us, Cmarty, people that actually want to learn and do some things, that could be a big divider or a big kind of contributor to your wealth. That's my point.
Mm-hmm.
So
I get that. But like I said, I don't see it as real change, because I see it as a distraction from these other corporations who are able to pay like nothing in taxes. I mean, like I said, back in the 50s and 60s, they brought it from 90% down to 45%. The current tax rate for the top tier, I think it's like 35, 37%.
Yeah,
how much do you think they're paying now?
But see, that's my thing too. And again, it is messed up. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say it's not messed up.
Yeah.
But my point is, I'm a person, I'm not going to complain about the rules of the game. I'm just going to know how to play it.
Yeah.
Right. But what I do think it is messed up is that the average person that's making like middle class, let's say $75,000 to $200,000 a year, those are the people that are getting really fucked by taxes. Mm-hmm. Especially me. I look at my paycheck on my W-2. I'm like, half of my damn salary goes to taxes. Mm-hmm. But now I'm starting to learn certain things, like, okay, I can move this around and make this look like that. Not saying I'm like not paying my taxes, but it's like more just a smarter way to kind of like maneuver when I'm like starting to pay them, Mm-hmm. So, but again, this is the problem. People will complain and say, eat the rich, this, that, and the third. But I look at your screen time, you're not learning how money works. You're not understanding the tax code. You're not doing anything. But actually what Cardi B or Beyonce did last Tuesday, you can tell me everything about that.
Yeah.
That's my issue.
Yeah. Well, there is a lot of bad financial advice out there too.
Yeah.
So that that definitely contributes to, dumbing down of America and aiding to the fact that people don't know what to do with money.
Do you want to talk about some of the bad financial advice? Then we kind of go to the videos and everything.
Yeah,
you want to
absolutely.
talk about that? Cool.
Yeah. Like what specifically would you?
Oh, well, before you ask that, I just wanted to add one thing too, just to offer a different perspective.
Sure.
If you were at the top, if you were at Apple, if you were at Microsoft, if you were Nvidia, Tesla, wouldn't you feel like you're entitled to those tax benefits if you make it to the top? If you create one of those companies, wouldn't you feel like, I put this work in, people didn't believe in my ideas, my vision, my they didn't believe in what I had going on, and I got here to the top, so I should get some of the, the tax benefits. I shouldn't pay taxes. You feel like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay, cool.
I feel
We're on the same
yeah,
page.
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying every CEO is like, rubbing their hands together every day. Like, how can I fuck over America today?
Well,
That's
some
not
people
what
look
I'm
at it like they're evil or something,
Absolutely.
So I just want to see, get your perspective on that.
Well, it's more so that CEOs, like whenever they're doing a different business venture or something like that, the people, people of America are not even part of the conversation. All right, they're about the customer for sure, but it's mainly about how they profit. All right, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but I think we've dug ourselves a hole by doing that for so many years now that we're in the current situation that we're in.
I mean, that makes sense. So just kind of going back to the bad financial advice, what are some of the most common, I guess, worst financial advice takes that you normally hear? Because I mean, probably back to fitness, I think you kind of did a show on that last night, didn't you, Steve Marty? Like, excuse people not to go to the gym and shit like that. It's kind of like in that same realm. But like when you hear people work out, let's go to workout for a second. You hear people say a lot of things like, do more HIIT, they say the keto diet, just things like that. Yeah. So what's some bad things you hear normally in the financial realm?
Well, my favorite is when I see articles are like, oh, the guy who predicted the COVID crash or whatever says that the stock market's going to tank anytime now.
Yeah.
That kind of market noise has always been around. It's always been around for decades. I mean, since probably the 20s.
I feel like people like have built brands off of that.
100%.
Or secretly getting paid. Like look at like Robert Kiyosaki.
Hey,
like,
thank you, dude. I have the biggest grudge against him.
He's never going to say anything positive about the stock market.
No.
So why would you even listen to him? Like I feel like that's either part of his brand or he's getting paid under the table to do that shit.
He's a fantastic salesperson.
Yeah, he's great.
But I hear he's like $2 billion in debt or something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He's been that way for
and
like
multiple
years.
countries too, not just America.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
he's a great salesperson. I wouldn't say he's the best at controlling his own money. Yeah.
I can't speak too bad on Kiyosaki. First of all, I'm not really too well versed in them, but like, Rich Dad, Poor Dad's almost like everybody's elementary thing into the
it's a great book.
Stock market. Yeah. So
book.
I can't really talk too bad on them. But my next point with that, Vince, the thing that's kind of pissing me off now is like, because I'm really big into crypto. Mm-hmm. Everybody and their mother is popping out of the woodwork now and talking about the next coin to invest in and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. This is a time when there's a bull market. It's like a time for people to get rich, people to start coming and grifting, selling you a bunch of dreams about this next coin's going on 100x in the next 100 days. I'm like,
go to the moon.
I'm like, where were y'all at the last 3 or 4 years when the Bitcoin was in the toilet? Like everybody pops out of nowhere. And I kind of think it's the same thing with the stock market. And everybody always says that in the stock market, time in the market is going to be your kind of biggest thing that's going to like multiply your wealth. And that's why I'm not really an individual stock picker. I just strictly do index funds. That's pretty much it for me.
That's
so
for the most part too.
Yeah, I mean, because it's like no point. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's always that one exception that can't beat the market and might learn something. You might get lucky on some kind of stock or something like that. But it's just like working out, bro. It's not going to be that one workout or that one time going to the gym that's going to like give you results. It's going to be you going in every single day for years when you don't feel like doing it, constantly eating the right meals. It's not one thing that ever gives you results. It's just constantly doing it over and over again. Same thing with the stock market. Put your money in there, $10, $15, $20 here, and before you know it, 5 or 10 years go by and you have a good amount. So that's where it should be.
Every now and then, though, you find a company you
absolutely, bro.
You trust a little bit. You know, you might like the company or something and gamble a little bit.
I mean, because if I would have known
1,000 times.
How much money did you lose?
I haven't been there either, man.
How much money did you lose, man?
I'm not going to say.
Press the button.
Wait, anybody here ever do options?
I'm not going to say what
I've never
race,
done
what
options.
people.
I've never done options.
Explain what options are for the audience.
Oh
Vince.
God, how long do we have?
Never done options.
Dude, so options are it's a derivative. So what that means is it bases its value off of the value of something else. So primarily off of stocks. All right. So if a stock, shoots up, a couple bucks or something like that, the option is going to shoot up, 2 times more.
Yeah.
All right. Now they're different. That's the very simple way of putting it. Basically, there are a lot of things like time. If you hold an option for too long, its value decays over time. Volatility, how fast it moves up, definitely depends, or it's definitely related to the price of the option. So there's a whole bunch of little things, but it's a very risky investment. It is also a cheap way to get a single stock, like 100 stocks.
Yeah,
It's a cheap way to do it. But it's still very expensive at the same time too.
I mean,
Been
but that's
very
why
risky.
I'm just so much more into the index fund, because as opposed to just buying an individual company, I just buy the top 100, top 200, whatever companies it is. And I mean, it's the safest investment, because also over time, I think that the stock market has an average return of like 10% or something like that over a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
So if I put my money in, I know if all 100 of these companies fail, essentially America's failed, and we all doomed anyway, So I always think that's the kind of safest bet. If you're not really into picking stocks, you're always going to be better actually just going in, just doing that mutual fund thing or index funds.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and bring this first video up for you, Vince, and
Sure.
you kind of can talk to it a little bit.
Let me get over here real quick.
You good, man? Come on.
And make sure it's the one he actually wants. I should have them in order. You want the one with the girl in the car first, no, or which one you want first, Vince?
Let's go with the Asian gentleman.
Okay.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
That Kiyosaki?
No,
No.
not him. Not him.
Oh no, that is Kiyosaki.
Yeah,
I
that-
did send that video.
Oh,
Yeah,
brother.
no, the other guy.
You forgot Kiyosaki was Asian.
This guy. So this guy kind of goes over market noise, stuff that's been around forever, articles saying, oh, doomsday is nigh. So he kind of goes over that a little bit. He does a way better job explaining it than I do.
So refresh the page first,
Yeah.
Ox, and then
And everybody should follow this guy.
Stay the course. You don't quote, this investor can spot market bubbles. Now he's warning of an ominous bust. This was April 2023. See how they try and increase the credibility of this person and the article by saying this investor can spot market bubbles? You can only know a bubble in retrospect. You can't call it when you're in it. Quote, a famous market watcher who called the subprime mortgage crisis is warning that stocks are about to crash. It's the highest probability since COVID. This call was also made in the spring of 2023. They try and give credibility by saying that this person called a previous bust, which I really doubt they did, which means this person can call future busts. Is that right? I don't think so. The highest probability since COVID. How did you calculate that? Just show me the work there. Later in the year, it says, quote, S&P 500 will plummet 23% by year end. That didn't happen. I try to stay at least 90% invested, and glad I did. S&P 500, which is the US market, up 26%. TSX, Canadian market, up 19%. Tax-free account, up 29% for the last 12 months. RSP, up 30% over the last 12 months. Margin account, up 34% over the last 12 months. Remember all those experts that were calling for doom and gloom? They've given up. Quote, S&P can hit 6,100 by year end as FOMO kicks in. Maybe I should be worried. Follow your plan, stay the course, ignore the noise. Get financially literate, start here. Keep up to date with the newsletter linked off the bio. Good luck, take care. Always stay invested, ignore the noise, stay the course.
It's funny that you say that about the whole doom and gloom thing. I'll turn over to you in a second, Vince. But like when you constantly make those doom and gloom predictions, eventually somebody's going to be right.
Mhm.
So it's like just throw something into the wall and see if something's going to stick. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. Pretty much.
I was going to say that I don't listen to that shit because I look at the S&P, like you got the top companies.
Mhm.
If a company isn't doing well, they kick it out.
Exactly.
Pretty much. So you got basically the Avengers of certain sectors, right? If you were to get the top fitness coaches and you wanted to lose weight, there's no way you can't lose weight. So that's how I look at the S&P. There's no way you're not going to get a return on your investment. So
Yes.
that's how I don't listen to that shit.
Mhm.
So Vince, why'd you pick that video, and what do you kind of want to talk to about that video there?
So first of all, I just want to say I like that guy. I can't remember his.
I just followed him too.
Oh, you did? Yeah, he's very smart. He doesn't give what I call sexy advice.
Mhm.
You know, stuff that you just want to hear all the time. He tells it like it is, and he's very knowledgeable about taxes, stock market, bonds, whatever it is, whatever he's talking about. There are some things that I can disagree with him on.
Of course,
but
of course.
you know, overall, he's a very smart gentleman, and I highly recommend his page. But I mean, everything he said was right. People earlier on in the year, they said the stock market was going to crash. It has exceeded expectations. Now we all know what's going to happen next year, but I'm not saying that in a negative light. I'm just saying we don't know what's going to happen next year, but nobody knows.
Yeah.
Anybody
yeah.
who's telling you, "Oh, I know the stock's going to go up. I know the stock market's going to tank."
Speculation.
It's all speculation.
All we can do, like anything in life, we can kind of look at certain like patterns in the past and kind of see what might happen. What's the saying? History doesn't always repeat itself, but it sometimes rhymes.
Oh yeah.
So you kind of can look at things like that and see, okay, this might happen, but like you said, nobody has 100% idea what's going to happen in the future. And they do tell you that they're full of shit.
Yeah,
that's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
But
I mean, interest rates rose. Well, I mean, they've been cut, but for the most of the year, they have, they've been pretty high, and the stock market still reached record highs.
But the thing I liked about you and what this guy said too, I mean, it's not sexy advice, but honestly, when you're trying to do anything, what is sexy about that?
Yeah.
You know, people come to me in the gym all the time, you know, man, how'd you get so strong? How are you able to lift so much? I say, you want to know the secret? There isn't a secret. It's literally just me being in here all the time when I don't feel like it, me constantly eating the same meals every week, me coming at the same time. I actually tell you, the majority of the time I'm walking to the gym, I don't feel like going to that motherfucker. I'll say 90% of the time. 90% of the time.
Me too. I ain't feel like going today.
I can never tell because you always look happy to be there,
Man. Hey, look, looks can be deceiving, man. The thing about me, I try to spread positive energy everywhere I go. You know, I complain to my girl about everything, but like when I'm out in public, I try to make sure that I at least act like I'm happy to be there because you know what somebody's going through.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to make everybody's day ask them how they're doing, shit like that. But my point is saying that, man, when you try to do anything in life, nothing's going to be sexy, bro. And anybody that tells you it's going to be this glamorous thing or just constantly you feeling happy all the time,
They're lying.
They're full of shit, bro.
Yes.
And even Cmarty the same way. That nigga see me. I be in the gym with him 4 a.m. I'd be like, man, they don't talk to me. I don't even want to just leave me alone, bro.
That's why I go up to you. I just give you the fist bump and keep moving because I don't feel like being there either.
Nah, bro. But you gotta kind of be there because your clients, and I mean, you have people
you see me in the evening after I get off of work. I don't feel like being there.
Yeah.
I be tired. So same shit.
But your clients are relying on you for energy and stuff, you know. So I can only imagine how much worse you have it because I don't feel like I don't have energy enough for myself, let alone somebody else.
It takes a special kind of person to bring that energy when you don't want to.
Yeah. I ain't training mostly women too. They
Glad you caught
it's tough.
A whole different
Yeah,
conversation.
that's tough. No, I wasn't even trying to go down that road. I'm just saying it's tough, man.
Now let's go ahead and get this next clip in so we can have Vince talk. I heard you, Alex. Go ahead.
What she say?
She's trying to be funny over there.
Oh,
it. Which clip do you want?
Yeah, which one we want next, Vince? Do we
The
want
lady in the car.
Okay, cool.
I know which one that is.
The one you clicked on before.
Oh, they moved. Okay.
The Asian guy? It's like,
Nah. And there's 2 Asian people the whole time.
All right, here
Are
we
you paying interest or are you earning interest? Broke typically pay interest, while you're rich and wealthy are busy earning it. Think about your upper class. They are busy buying assets. While you're middle class, you think about the guy that drives the truck that can't afford that payment. Or how about the family that's putting everything on credit cards? It's all about assets versus liabilities. So, are you paying interest or are you earning interest? Are you paying interest?
Okay, so everything she said in there was true. Rich people earn interest. Okay.
Mm.
Do you know how they earn interest?
Compound.
Compound?
Like,
No,
is it-
compounding happens when you're earning interest,
Okay.
earning interest or earning capital gains. But you earn interest through fixed income or bonds, lending out money.
or debt, right?
Huh? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You're letting somebody borrow your money. They pay you back your principal plus interest. So, first of all, not a lot of people have, a couple $1,000 that's burning a hole in their pocket to just
Sure.
lend out to the market.
Yeah.
They got bills to pay. They got food they got to put on the table.
Yeah.
So that's unrealistic for many Americans right now. All right. And to actually earn
Don't forget the mic too, bro.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, you good.
to actually earn enough interest where your coupon payment or the payment of interest that you're making on bond is actually, makes a difference in your life, you have to have like millions of fucking dollars.
That's true. That's very true.
All right. So I don't like that video because it gives a wrong impression of what to do with your money. Some kid's going to look at that and be like, oh, I have to earn interest. Okay. Let me do that. Let me throw, maybe his mom saved up $1,000 for him or something like that. Oh, let me throw it into this. Meanwhile, he doesn't have a car, doesn't have a place to live, doesn't have any money in the stock
That's a
market.
good point.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I get from that video. That could just be me.
Okay, because I kind of took that as a different route, bro. Because
Go
like I think what she was saying, and again, this is up for interpretation, but I think the main core value I got from that video is make your money work for you and avoid credit card debt. That's kind of what I heard.
Okay.
Because you gonna say something, bro?
I was just gonna say we probably understand that, but there are gonna be people who take it the wrong way. Which is pretty much what you were saying.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like seriously, but people we were talking about it. Like people are they don't know anything about money, right? Because when you're spending money on credit cards, you automatically think the financially illiterate person. They're going to think that, hey, I'm just borrowing money and that's pretty much it. Not knowing that how high credit card debt interest actually is a lot of the time. Yeah, you get what you want right now in that moment, but you're gonna be paying 16, 17, 20% back on that. So like, yeah, it feels good in that short term, but long term, you're spending like a lot more money than you actually were just initially kicked out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that educating people on that is not necessarily a bad thing, but I kind of get both of y'all's points.
Yeah. And I get your point too.
Yeah.
It is like I said, everything she said is true.
Yeah.
So I'm not knocking that in any way. Yeah, I see your point.
Yeah, and I mean, even like when you have that $1,000 putting into the market and letting it earn interest for you, it's not necessarily really a bad principle to have, as opposed to going to buy your next pair of Jordans or going on a trip to Cabo. Put that money into the market and selling it for a little while. But again, we talk about all the time, people have no idea what delayed gratification actually is. So
that's very true.
They want everything right now. If I can't get it right now, then F it. Not realizing that you 20 or 30 years old right now, like you have, God willing, 40, 50 years to live. And sometimes probably even more than that, the way technology's advancing. But they don't think about the fact of I have to live at when I'm 80, 90, how my life going to look if I don't have any money saved. Because everybody right now, talk to my cousin about this, especially women, they live in a world where both their parents are alive. They're still getting financial assistance. And they don't think about what does my life look like when I'm 40 or 50 and both my parents are gone. I haven't saved any money. A lot of Americans aren't going to be able to afford to retire at the rate we're going right now.
Yeah.
Social Security not going to be there, things like that. So I'm just telling people all the time, make sure you have a plan about know where your money's going and have a plan to make it work for you in the future. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
So I don't think what she's necessarily saying, it wasn't a bad video, but I do get your point though, Vince.
Yeah.
Anything else to add on that video, bro?
No, nothing else.
Okay. Let's go ahead and get this last one. Then we can kind of get into some election talk a little bit here.
Oh, I can't wait.
They go, y'all boy right here, man. Our boy,
My boy. Okay.
Kiyosaki.
I own 15,000 houses.
15,000 houses. Okay. Which you give it out for rent.
Yeah. So nothing wrong with buying a house.
Yeah.
Difference is I use debt to buy it.
Okay.
And I pay no taxes. It's not the house. It's not the stock. It's not the bond. It's your brains. In 1971, this became debt.
Okay.
The only way it's created is somebody has to borrow money. So in your credit card, there's no money in your credit card.
Right.
There's no money anywhere. So the moment you use your credit card, money is created. And they need people to borrow money. So when I go to a bank and I say, I want to borrow $20 million, I get huge tax breaks because I'm creating money. But if I use my credit card, I get nothing. I own 15,000 houses.
So multiple points there.
Go ahead, bro.
I don't believe that motherfucker has 15,000 houses. He might. I could be wrong. I don't care. But either way, nobody should have $15,000 houses. Nobody should have 15,000
houses.
15,000 houses. My bad.
Well, I mean, if he's, how old is he?
I think Kiyosaki got to be like in his late 60s, early 70s.
Didn't in his book, he said didn't he buy his first property like 30 something? So like, over 40 years maybe.
And he probably got that joint for dirt cheap too.
He probably got it for cheap. So I think he might not be lying. Who knows?
He might not. I still don't. I don't think people should have that many houses. That just seems predatory to people who are renting because he's spiking up the prices on rent on that. He's got to pay off that $2 billion of debt somehow.
And this is going kind of where we're going with segue. Nah, go ahead, finish your points on the video, Vince. Besides
He's
the 15.
77, by the way.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying. So if he's been investing for 47 years in real estate, he could have 15,000 houses.
He could.
And these,
I mean, and it's probably not houses. He probably got like units, a couple buildings,
apartment buildings.
It might, yeah. He's probably not houses, but I see what you're saying.
It's probably 15,000 doors, maybe.
Yeah,
Screaming.
that is crazy. That's a lot of fucking doors.
Yeah. Another weird point on there. He's like, the only difference is I use debt to buy a house.
Yeah.
I have a house. Do you think I bought it for how much it cost? All on my own? No, I took out a mortgage. That's debt.
That's most people though.
That's pretty. But you made it seem like this big thing, like, oh, only I'm doing this. And I'm special. I'm special for doing it. And the other thing was, what was it? Let's talk about money and how it's created and how the dollar became debt. He wasn't too far off. I think he was talking about when gold was not backing our currency then. Richard Nixon took that off.
Yeah.
Or he got rid of that. But I don't see his point on the dollar in and of itself being debt. It's kind of confusing and weird.
I didn't understand that terminology either. But you said Nixon's the one that removed the dollar being backed by gold, right?
Yes.
So, see, and that's kind of where a lot of people are gravitating more towards like alternative investments and things like that now, because the dollar really isn't backed by anything anymore. And that's kind of the common thing that you hear. I mean, you hear people say it's backed by the power and strength of the U.S. military, but that doesn't really mean anything to me. But, with Bitcoin, which I know you're not a really big fan of, but like
I started investing in it actually. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not too long ago.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up, bro.
Not too much, but yeah.
But the reason people are going into those assets is because Bitcoin is like backed by math. There's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin ever made. And when you have something that's that anti-inflationary, its value is only going to go up. Whereas a dollar, when they're constantly printing money all the time, and I know you don't want to talk about the interest rates and the rates with the Fed and everything, but when the government can just print billions of dollars, it's going to devalue your currency. That's why people run into gold and Bitcoin and other precious metals and things like that. So,
well, here's what they also don't tell you: they can increase the value of the currency. Okay,
Okay, go on.
Yeah. So what they do is they buy up government assets.
Yeah.
All right, like treasury bonds.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what the Fed does. All right. Yes, they print money that devalues the currency, but they also buy assets back to increase its value. Okay. That's why when was this?
That's why BlackRock's buying all these properties, single family homes.
BlackRock, they buying a bunch of Bitcoin too.
Oh yeah, they're definitely in on Bitcoin.
Shit.
Yeah. I want to get to your point
My
on
bad,
BlackRock.
bro. My bad, bro.
No, you're good. You're good.
I just say some shit off the wall. My bad.
But yeah, they do have ways on pulling back the stock of money so that it doesn't devalue any further. We just had to during COVID because stock market crashed. Everybody remembers that.
I do remember that.
Yeah, and what they do, what the Fed has always done, they did it in 2008. They did it during the dot-com bubble. They decrease interest rates so that people can start borrowing money and pick up, speed up the economy. All right. So that's what happened. But during COVID, they also printed money for the COVID checks as well. Those were very expensive.
And I think we're kind of paying the price for that now, but go ahead.
But what the Fed did now in response to that, they just increased rates, so it made it harder to borrow money. They pretty much kept the inflation rate. I think. Fuck. I'm sorry.
You good, bro? Because I kind of wanted to, if you don't got your point, I kind of wanted to transition.
Go ahead.
You got it?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Alex always tells me to say my ABCs when you forget something. So you want to try that?
You gotta say it all the way from A to Z.
All right, we ain't doing all that.
You just hating.
All right, Vince. So before we kind of transition to some more like off the wall stuff, did you kind of want to tell people like what kind of books that you would recommend for the average person to, if they don't know anything about the stock market, the economy, how money works, things like that?
Absolutely. So, Intelligent Investor and Security Analysis by Benjamin Graham. All right. Another one is Basic Economics by Thomas Sowell. For those who are on my side of the political aisle, yes, Thomas Sowell is hard right Republican. Yes, you will cringe many times in this book.
What's the book by Thomas? What's the book by Thomas? What is it?
Basic Economics.
You're so hilarious.
But
I'm writing down all the books.
I'm sure.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
I'm not no diehard Republican. That's crazy. That's insane.
But Basic Economics is a very good book because he goes over each and every corner of our economy, everything from real estate to the stock market to futures to commodities to I mean, it's a 750-page book. It's very detailed.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Your eyes gonna bleed over for real reading that.
Right.
Yes, but it is also very
Get the book.
palatable, which is what I really like about it, why I recommend it so much. It really helps people understand all the different corners of our economy very well. Yeah. And also, I mean, this is a bit of a harder read, a monetary history of the United States, I think from like 1868 to 1961.
That don't just sound boring. I ain't going.
Yeah.
It sound like they talking with British accents.
How are you today, darling?
And it's so messed up. I just got the best British accent, bro. Like
Thank
she
you
be
very
below
much,
me.
darling. How are you?
I cannot stand that.
I'm a-
Cheerio.
I'm gonna let you narrate a video for me.
Oh, absolutely.
Say oi, governor.
Oi, governor.
Oh yeah.
All right, man. Let's go ahead and get into this election talk, man.
Let's do it.
Okay. First of all, Vince, how did you end up on the wrong? How'd you end up on the wrong side of the aisle, man? Because I say this, bro, because I'm like Cmarty, man. I don't necessarily. When I was growing up, I was a staunch Democrat, and the thing that I say
Same.
with people is like, The reason I was that way is because I was just raised that way. I didn't ask any questions. I didn't question anything. And the thing that I noticed is that when you are raised like that and you start asking questions, people are like, yo, what's up with you, man? Like you, Uncle Tom, Coon, stuff like that. And honestly, if I'm not talking to Cmarty or you or Toon or Alex, I don't share my political views whatsoever because it's no point in having that conversation.
Yeah, good luck.
People are too emotional to even talk about that. And I can talk about it to y'all because, we can chop up the shit, say we disagree, and we still going to be friends and stuff like that. But people, they cut you off now if you on the right now. So it's just getting weird for me. So how did you transition from being a Democrat now to a Republican now to a Democrat?
So it all started when I moved to Washington, D.C. They kidnapped me and brainwashed me. I think there was some probing. I don't know. It was all very blurry.
You know what? Your people might actually believe you said that.
No, but it all started when I was in Washington, D.C. Like I said, I was very pro-Trump, very also. It basically started with spill some beans here with how I viewed racial tensions. Okay, so I was that, I'm gonna admit, I was that guy. If I saw a black guy coming down the street, at least in my neighborhood, because I lived in a really rough neighborhood, Trinidad. Y'all ever? Yeah.
What, in DC?
In DC.
Oh, brother.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh, brother.
Yeah, I lived. Staples Street. I was there.
Oh shit!
If
I have friends around there.
If I saw a black guy walking on the same road as me, I was that dude who walked over to the other side of the street. And
don't blame you.
I
do that shit too.
but it suddenly occurred to me. I was like, what was he going to do? He didn't even look at me. There was nothing he did. Nothing ever happened.
I do that with
to
white
me
people too.
But that moment really clicked into me. I was like, oh, so that's what they're talking about when they're saying white people are afraid of black people. That's what they're talking about when they're saying there's some conscious bias, because I just did it off of a whim. And that really got me starting to look at how I view other people who don't look like me, never grew up like me. Because I grew up with a silver spoon. I mean, I grew up upper middle class, sure. I'd say. So that really got me looking into how I view other people and not be so judgmental and try to hinder these unconscious biases that I have.
So I respect that, bro, because it takes a degree of self-awareness to even ask yourself those questions. Mm-hmm. So you just even asking that question, I think that you're ahead of a lot of people. But I will say this, and it's not necessarily even a racial conversation thing, but why do you think that you had those feelings about black people? And you don't have to answer it right now, but I'll kind of answer it for you. It's because I think to every stereotype, there's a certain level of truth to it, Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to say that it's all black people, because it's not. But black people be doing nigga shit. They be stealing, they be robbing, they be doing stuff like fighting. And again, it's not all black people. I'm not going to say it is.
It's definitely not.
But I understand why certain people, why white people and why sometimes other black people don't want to be around niggas, because it's always something. And it's not necessarily they're bad people, but we have a severely bad culture problem.
And if you didn't grow up around black people and that's all you see on TV,
great point, bro.
What do you think people are going to think of you? So that's another issue.
The media doesn't do anything to dispel that, because when we're constantly being blasted with images of black men killing each other, our music is terrible. You walk on TV, you see all these damn thugs. It's it's always something.
The movies, especially.
Yeah,
I think that had a lot to do with it too, because I would kind of make the connection. Oh, you're black, so you're from the hood. Yeah, all black people are from the hood. Yeah.
But you see, it's not necessarily even just that. It's people have stereotypes about Americans too. People, absolutely. Everybody thinks that all Americans are rich, or all Americans are violent, or we all school shooters. We always have these stereotypes. And again, there's a little bit of truth to every single stereotype. Not to everybody, but to most people. But like I said, I applaud you for asking that question, bro. But the thing that got me over into the right side now is First of all, I strengthened my relationship with God over the last couple of years. And when I see the talking points of the Democratic Party, and again, it's not everybody. I'm not going to sit here and say it's absolute.
Yeah.
But when I look at like the things that the Democratic Party preaches, and I look at the history of the Democratic Party, I'm like, something ain't right here. You know, the big talking point for Democrats, this whole thing was always like the abortion thing, right? And I hate to even go down this tangent, but here we go. I am all for a woman's right to choose what happens to her body, but we gotta keep it about, like, when you do that, it's murder, right? And I was to a point for a very long time that I thought that life didn't begin when that sperm hit the egg. But the more research that I do, when you literally go in there and do the abortion process, you're killing somebody, and it's not right. And you know, God always says the one of the 10 commandments is thou shalt not murder. And when I look at what people are saying, when you get to that point of abortion, there were so many things a woman could have done prior to getting pregnant. And I'm not saying in cases, of course, you know, the R word and incest. Don't get me wrong; those definitely should be a priority in abortion or the life of the mother. But when you think of a woman, like Slim, you had condoms, you had a plan B, you could have chose a better partner, and you're to that last point. Now you got to get an abortion. Like, where were those other 3 steps before you got to that point? And I think that abortion is a godless thing. And then when you talk about the kind of people the Democratic Party promotes, and you know, the thing that really made me mad when you were trying to get Kamala to vote for Black people, right? Who they have up there on the rallies and stuff? Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B,
Glorilla.
You think that Black people are that unintelligent that we have to have rappers come to promote what we think?
Yeah, I was insulted. That's
no
crazy.
other group has that except for Black people. That's it.
Yep.
Like, that's how low you think of us. And again, not all of us, to make that perfectly clear. Not all, but most. And I just think the Democratic Party, man, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I have something wrong here, but I just don't agree with a lot of principles, man. That's it.
Well, I definitely think the Democrats pander. They're feckless.
Yeah.
And they don't get shit done. That's why I've always considered myself a Bill Maher Democrat. I'm not with all the cancel culture bullshit, though I do think there are issues that need to be addressed, including with trans people, Black people, what have you. Any demographic, there are issues that need to be addressed.
Sure.
Well, I think,
sorry.
Real quick, not to cut you off.
No,
I think the issues you're referring to, if they ran their campaign highlighting those issues opposed to just women's rights, quote unquote, because that's not what
these empty words,
yeah,
and campaign slogans.
Exactly.
Yes,
I would definitely respect it more, but I didn't.
It's cringy.
Yeah, it is.
It's cringy. Yeah, yeah, but it's. I kind of want to go back to your topic on abortion.
Okay.
I don't think abortion is murder.
Okay.
I just don't think that's something we are going to agree on, no matter how much we talk about it, to be honest. So the only thing I do want to say that I really do feel strongly about with abortion is all of the efforts to try to get rid of it. So I'm not just talking about Roe v. Wade. I'm talking about what happened after Roe v. Wade, when certain states, Texas, I think Tennessee was one of them, Missouri, they wanted to take away a doctor's license who was in a state where abortion was legal.
Wow.
Wanted to take away their license if they performed an abortion on Texas or Missouri's residents. That is huge government overreach. That scares the shit out of me. And now that this is a whole nother topic, but now that Trump has pretty much every branch of the government, it scares the shit out of me even more.
But see, and that's kind of like that whole phantom boogeyman that the Democrats kind of like construct to make you like fearful. Because Trump has been on record 1,000 times saying that he's not against abortion. He just wants it back into the states. And bro, I agree with you on one thing. Again, I want to reiterate my point.
Mm-hmm.
I am 100% pro-choice. I think that if you do get an abortion, if you make it illegal, quote unquote, which is not going to happen in every state, of course, but if you did that, all you're going to do is make it to a point where a woman's in a back alley sticking a coat coat hanger up a vagina or something like that and make it more dangerous.
Mhm.
So I don't agree with that. But the whole thing that I'm saying is just like when people think of abortion, they don't talk about the negative consequences of it. It's just always like, my right to choose my body. They don't talk about the women who have PTSD because of that, who have nightmares, who can't even hear a vacuum cleaner because they went through with that, you know.
Holy shit.
They make it seem like it's just like all sunshine and rainbows, and it's not.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. And like when people actually look at how an abortion is done, that's just morbid, bro. Like it's really ugly. So that's really my thing. And I just think that for as much as I hate this life, I'm not gonna lie to you. I be thinking sometime if I had a choice, would I even have been born? Probably not. Whole different conversation. But the thing that I say is I also love life, and I love the people that I met, the friendships that I fostered, my family and things. And I think about it, how would I have felt if I would have got aborted? You know, I'm all for about fighting for life. And we also can talk about how there are plenty of kids around here who just get born and then get born in a fucked up situation like that, in foster care and shit like that. Whole different conversation. I agree with that. But my point is everybody has a right to live. That's only that's my point.
I hear you. So you're just more along the lines of you want to recognize realities, recognize what you're actually doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like I said, I am pro-choice, but I want people to say that, yeah, I'm pro-choice, but that shit's wrong. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. I don't think you should ever cut off a woman's access to health care, whatever the case is. I do not agree with that. I staunchly don't agree with it because, like I said, I'm in the school of thought with God that we all have free will and a free choice, but at the end of the day, there is a consequence to every action that you make. That's what I want people to talk about more.
Yeah.
So
honestly, like the stuff that you just went over there, I had never really thought of. I mean, just the process of it, the trauma that comes about it.
That's my point.
Right.
Nobody
You're
talks
right.
about that though, bro. And like they just make it seem like, oh yeah, have an abortion, it'll be fun. I'm like, no, that shit's morbid, bro. Like, and I've actually like seen it done. You know, it's like not anybody with me, of course, but I'm talking about like, you know, there's videos on YouTube and stuff like that. But it's like actually a really morbid process. I mean, you're like looking at the aftermath of that. You're like, this isn't just a clump of cells. This is like a body. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird, bro, and it's really messed up. But they do a terrible job of actually educating people on what it actually is. So that's my point.
I can't say I would disagree with you on that.
Yeah,
honestly. Yeah.
So what is it like? Are you more of like a anti-Trump person? Or are you more like an anti-Republican person? Like where do you think
anti-Trump?
Okay.
Because I mean, I like you guys.
You about to say something fucked up? Go ahead.
You guys are fun.
Bring it on.
No, I love Republicans. I think Republicans, even like, the senators, people in Congress, and they all want the country to do better. They just have a different opinion than the Democrats on how to get there. All right, same, vice versa. I read Mike Pence's book. I hated Mike Pence before I read his book. Now I'm just like, okay, no, he just had a vision for the country and he aimed to pursue that.
Right.
And honestly, Mike Pence's book was one of my favorite books.
I gotta read that book. Okay.
It's really good. It's really good. It goes about his whole life and everything that that happened in the first Trump presidency. It's a very good book, honestly. I recommend anybody to read it. But I am definitely anti-Trump, 100%.
Okay, kind of go into a couple of those reasons. Why do you think?
The 2020 election. Him saying it, I think it's proof now that the people who stormed the Capitol on January 6th threw a hissy fit. I mean, they said it was rigged. They said it was stolen. Now Trump has pretty much the best election, like any president's wet dream, basically. He has the House. Yep. He has the Senate. He has the Supreme Court. He already has his federal judges that he placed in the first time doing his bidding as well.
And I'll probably get some more too, honestly.
Yes. Yes. And what I'm really afraid of is he is going to replace the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, right now. If any president, regardless of who it is, Obama, Bush, Clinton, has any control of the Federal Reserve, this country is fucked 100%.
No political leader should have control of the money stock because they will use it for political reasons and it will destroy the economy. I don't care who it is.
This is what I'll say. I'll say two things to this. I agree that checks and balances are the very foundation of the Constitution. There's no argument for me here. But you got to realize one thing too, Vince, is that just because they're Republican doesn't mean that they're aligned with Trump. You know, a lot of Republicans actually don't like Donald Trump.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
So, like, while he may have control on paper, that doesn't mean he's actually going to get anything done, because this is what kind of made me mad. The thing that the quote that I live by, it's like, be careful who you can't criticize, because the one you can't criticize is the one that controls you, right? When I look at Democrat and Republican, right, I honestly believe in my heart of hearts, the world's a stage and they all on the same side. They want to keep us down here at the bottom fighting, so we won't look up and see who's fucking us over, right? So they want you to do the black versus white, gay versus straight, Democrat versus Republican. There's a hidden oligarch out here that actually rules this world that we have no ideas about. That goes into the Bible and some more stuff. I won't get too much into that right now. But when I look into Trump, right, it's like normally if you're a Republican, you have 100% of Republicans, not 100%, but the majority of people like you. If you're a Democrat, you have the backing of the Democrats. But like, why are people so afraid and fighting so hard to keep this man out of the office, right? And when you look at it, especially black people, we loved Donald Trump up until about 10 to 15 years ago. Everybody loved him. But now all of a sudden he becomes president and he starts fighting back. And he's like the person that says, I don't care what you want to do. I don't care what you like. I'm fighting for the American people. And now all of a sudden he runs for president. Everybody hates him. I'm like, y'all wasn't singing that song a couple years ago. So like, what changed between the point of y'all loving him and y'all hating him? He was a threat to the system that you guys have orchestrated. And now he's trying to come in, clean up corruption, drain the swamp, all the other stuff. And now you're like, oh, no, we can't control this guy, so we're going to make sure we go against him. I look at people like that from all over the world, like the Andrew Tate. Say what you want about him. I'm like, why are you fighting so hard to destroy him? Nick Fuentes, don't really like him that much either, but he you don't like Nick?
I hate Nick.
No.
I like Nick a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
You like Nick?
I like Nick a lot.
I don't like Nick.
I like Nick a lot.
I don't like Nick.
I
just reacted. You saw when I reacted to his video the other day?
No, I didn't see that.
Oh man.
But see, that's my point though. But see, that's my point though, Vince. Is like the thing that I always say: if something hurts to hear, look for the truth in it. If it's a comfort to hear, look for the lie in it. Do I think that Nick is a little bit eccentric and maybe a little bit racist? Yes, but I always check myself and say, when he says something crazy, is there any truth to what he's saying? If it bothers me or not. And a lot of stuff he said, minus the Israel, so I don't agree with that shit. A lot of shit that he says is like, he got a point.
Like, I mean, can you recall anything? Because all I've ever seen of him, what was the most recent thing? He actually got like somebody come up to his house and almost attack him.
And pepper sprayed him.
Yeah, what did he said something just fucking ridiculous.
I'm not going to really like talk too much about it. I don't really do that much research. But he essentially said that the tweet was like your body, my choice. Exactly.
Yes.
And I think he said that in a context. So like again, I don't know. But that got the internet pretty much in an uproar. Well, yes. And at that point, he got doxxed and his home address was leaked. So,
fantastic. I hope it happens again.
But see, that's my point. Like, why? But like,
because
why?
If you actually have good points, if you are smart, if you want the world to, you know, if you want to influence a good direction for this company or country.
Yeah, you got you.
Going off here. If you want to put this country in a good direction, why you gotta say shit like that? What is the point? What is the reason to rile up all this controversy? We got enough controversy right now. We don't need any more.
And when you do that, your point isn't going to get across.
Exactly.
Your point.
Exactly.
I mean, he's extreme.
He definitely is extreme. And I'm not saying that I agree with everything that he says, but I will say this. we're at a point now where negativity freaking sells, right? Do you know who Charleston White is? You ever heard of him?
I've heard of him. I'm not too
Yeah,
familiar.
he admits that he does shit on purpose.
But that's my point. Did you see Charleston White 5 or 6 years ago?
When he was super pro-black?
Charleston White does not talk the way he talks. He admits that the way he talks is a character, right?
Yeah.
So he kind of comes on, he says like nigga, like says the wildest shit.
Yeah.
And now he's getting his point across because he said so much wild stuff. But when he was saying actually good stuff and was positive, nobody listened to him.
That's true.
The reason that we like talk about Nick Fuentes now is because he says so much wild ass shit.
That's true.
But if you listen to Nick Fuentes outside of his wild takes, like actually go listen to a show, he says a lot of good shit. It's the same way with Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels always got shit on because he said the most wildest shit in clip. And I'm just being honest, bro. You could cut any one of our lives up in here and make us sound crazy.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. Especially me.
So my point is with Nick Fuentes, people watch him and the wild stuff that he says, which I don't agree with, by the way, and think that's him as a person. But actually go and watch the whole show of what he says. And I guarantee people who criticize him have never ever watched the whole show with his.
I can agree with that.
Because y'all probably ain't watched the whole show with his either.
Well, I don't need to watch the whole show when he's trying to say the N-word in front of all the black girls.
But I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that either.
I don't need to watch the whole show.
I don't agree with that either. But to be fair, they told him to say it.
That's a whole different conversation.
That
was crazy.
That was wild, and I agree with you, bro. That was why I don't like that shit.
That was
either.
insane. Yeah.
I don't like that either.
Well, I hope my like showing my disdain for Nick Fuentes doesn't have any like correlation to you,
bro.
I just want
listen,
you to know that.
Bro. I told you we always chop this up like real dudes do, bro. Nothing that you say is going to offend me. I hope the same thing with you, bro. I'm just always try to say a different point of view at this point. That's all I'm saying. But the thing I was saying, making the point, is the reason that people do this is because with content creation, I'm starting to learn this now. Nuance is boring. Nobody wants to hear the gray area, and the majority of life is gray area. It's never going to be all the way to the right, always to the left. It's normally the truth is somewhere in the middle. And the people who stay in the middle who aren't controversial, nobody talks about them. So what they do is they do what they call, you mix the sugar and the greens. You give people some wild ass take, and then people come to watch you and flock to your channel, and you're like, oh, he actually does talk about some good stuff. That's how it's a marketing employee, man. Just like the Jake Paul, the Logan Paul and Mike Tyson thing.
Yeah.
People say what you want, but Logan Paul is a master marketer, man.
Jake Paul.
Jake? Is it Jake?
It's Jake. Yeah. Jake's a boxer.
So wait, Logan's a brother?
Logan's a brother.
Yeah, Logan's a brother.
Yeah.
So that was Jake Paul that fought last night.
Yeah, Jake Paul. Yeah.
Damn, okay. Anyway, Jake Paul is a master marketer. He knows exactly what buttons to push, how to make you upset, how to get people drawn into the program. He literally sold out an $80,000 arena, 80,000 person arena last night, which is crazy, bro. All for bullshit. But that's what marketing is, bro. He drummed up controversy. He had Mike Tyson out there, and I think, and I don't know how true this is, but from somebody who went over the contract said that Mike actually would have gotten more money if he lost. So everything kind of makes sense last night, and when you think about it in theory, but
once you find that as like a cheap way to gain, I guess, market share.
Absolutely.
I mean, yes, with marketing, you have to have something that stands out in order to get people's attention. Absolutely. But if you're going to say shit like, your body, my choice, or what the fuck did Andrew Tate say?
We could talk about that.
Yeah, because I don't like his ass either.
Okay.
He said a lot of wild shit.
He does.
But like that just seems like a cheap way to grow your audience, and you don't really get the best people, and you kind of feed not just adult males but young males these very distorted views about women, about race, or about these things that we already have issues with.
Right.
So if all you're doing as a marketing employee, you don't really mean what you're saying, you're still adding to the problem.
And this is what I'm saying, Vince. To a certain extent, I agree with 110% what you're saying. But it's kind of like the whole thing people always say. Like, people get on the Koreans and the Chinese for coming into black neighborhoods and opening up liquor stores and the hair product stores and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But my whole thing is that if they didn't do it, somebody else would do it anyway, right?
Very true. Yeah.
So it's like people gonna get their shit off, whether it's liquor or vices or negative content. People gonna consume it whether you do it or not. Now, it is a moral issue, and I do agree with you. It's not probably right.
Mm-hmm.
But my point is, if Andrew Tate didn't do it, it'd be somebody else. If Nick Fuentes didn't do it, it'd be somebody else. And that's kind of what people are leaning towards right now.
Okay. Yeah, you got a point there. Yeah.
But yeah, man. But I just think that with me, you got to understand that a lot of these people that claim that they're one way online, they're not like that offline. That's where I'm kind of starting like realizing my niche in content creation, because like I'm an extremely nuanced person, bro. Like, as you can see, I don't really lean too far left or right on one thing. And I'm starting to learn now that if you want to really get out there, you gotta literally just be like extreme. And not necessarily in a bad way, but you gotta say something gonna piss somebody off. Because if you don't, they're gonna be like, oh, that was nice. Scroll, say something wild. They like, what you just say? Oh, I'm about to get this nigga a piece of my mind. He gonna start commenting. And then the comments roll into more comments, which goes into more likes, which goes into more engagement.
Yeah.
But am I like that in real life? Absolutely not.
Yeah, I can agree with you.
Yeah, that's my point, bro. But man, this has been great, bro.
Yeah,
we always
I enjoyed this.
we always chop this up, man. I love talking to you, man. It's always great conversation, bro. And you're welcome down here anytime. We have always try to have different episodes. I think we covered a lot of bases. Did a little bit of economic history. Did a little bit of election talk. Had a couple of disagreements here, man. So I love this. We're gonna go and shut this down real quick. Everybody got somewhere to be. Alex, thank you so much for all your hard work and things you do behind the scenes.
You're very welcome.
Go ahead and give your last thoughts.
This was great. It was something different. I like learning new things, so very interesting. I'll actually get one of the books too.
Wait, you got one of the books?
No, I'm going to.
Which one?
The big one.
Intelligent Investor.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a good book. That motherfucker is
it's long, man.
Big book.
I wonder, is it on Audible?
It very well could be. It's a very popular book.
It has to be Audible at this point.
Yeah.
But Vince, man, go ahead. You want to say any last words? You want to plug anything you got going on, your Instagram? You want to give any last encouraging words to the people? The floor is yours, bro.
Sure. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, I post a lot of content about our current political state. Mainly just sharing, videos or like, current events with the stock market. My @ is meditative_bodybuilding. So yeah, that's really all I have to say.
Yeah.
I hope somebody learned something from this on this podcast here tonight.
Yeah, bro, we definitely gotta do it again, man. I'm pretty sure with the next couple of years, we'll have plenty of conversation material to move forward over the next couple of years. So
yes, absolutely.
Cmarty.
Definitely appreciate you coming on, Vince. And
appreciate you having me.
Of course. And listen, get your money right, but you gotta get your body right. All right. So if you need fitness advice, you want to learn more about fitness, check out the Best Fitness Podcast. I'll Cmarty Fit on YouTube. Less Brunches, More Crunches podcast on Apple Podcasts. And follow my social media, Cmarty Fit on everything. And TK, take us home, man.
Follow my boy on Instagram, Cmarty Fit, and also Cmarty Fit on YouTube. My boy's back monetized, man. So he's gonna keep doing this thing, running this up. He changed his content back, man. So he about to get in that money. Where that dollar sign? That's on there. Damn it.
Oh Lord.
It's on there.
Which page you know?
It's on the bottom row. I don't know what page though.
There you go. About to get in that money. All right, camera on me. Guys, I appreciate you. If you made it this far, and I really, really mess with you. Shattered Illusionz Podcast, man. Kill the fantasy, build the dream. We love y'all, boys. We out of here.
Shut this